Rebecca Lowe, NBC Sports Premier League host, and the Premier League is coming back on NBC Sports Wednesday, June 17th. She also hosts the new Breakfast with Bex digital series. It's always great to see and hear from Rebecca Lowe. Did we acquire you? Are you a U.S. citizen?
Damn it. How I'm not, considering the amount of times you tried to get me to become one over the course of the last 7 years. No, I'm still not, but we are edging closer by the month to the day when I'm free to apply. So just hold your horses.
Okay, all right. Now, can I help speed it up? Because I know people. I got David Faraday. That was a great acquisition by the United States. We got David Faraday.
Whatever you can do to acquire me, Dan, I'm yours.
All right. I've heard that before. How is Teddy, your son?
Teddy is great. Would you believe, Dan, he turned 4 years old during lockdown, which is crazy because I was just talking to you in the wardrobe room. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. It sounds like yesterday with him in my belly. So he's good. He's back at school. His school's open. So that's great for him because we had him out for like 8 weeks, and obviously it's tough when you're little because all they care about is playgrounds, and they're full of yellow tape, or they were full of yellow tape. And that's all he cared about. When is the yellow tape coming down? When can I go back to school, see my friends? Because their little mental health is just as important as your and I mental health. So he is doing really well, much better now. He's back with his little pals.
I saw that you were hosting Breakfast with Bex, and I have to admit, I thought it was with David Beckham. And I tuned in and I went, where's Bex? And then I go, oh, no, it's Rebecca Lowe. So I love seeing you. I'm not disappointed. It was a little bit of an adjustment there.
Dan, I'm disappointed, but to be quite honest, when you've got the same name as one of the most famous footballers in the world, I just use it. I've just got to use it to get those followers. I've got to get those viewers. And let's not get too excited about Breakfast with Bex. I feel like we're making this slightly bigger than it is. It's really just very, very lowbrow broadcasting. So let's just calm down about Breakfast with Bex.
Okay. All right. The fact that the Premier League is coming back, it's a foregone conclusion that Liverpool is winning. Is the Premier League coming back for Liverpool?
That's a great question, and that is a question that no one's asked me, which is amazing. No, it's not just coming back for Liverpool, because actually that's about the only foregone conclusion that there is, in that they're 6 points away, 2 victories at the most away from winning it for the first time in 30 years. So no, because that's going to happen. It's coming back for a myriad of reasons. First and foremost, to try and save not just the Premier League clubs, Dan, but as you know, because you know football so well, underneath the Premier League, there are 4 professional leagues. And then underneath them, there are about 5 semi-pro leagues, right? And it's a pyramid. And without the bottom of the pyramid, there is no top of the pyramid. So everyone needs to help each other. And the clubs below the Premier League are really struggling, really, really struggling. And they need money from the Premier League, and it all filters down. So the Premier League has to come back to try and help football stay alive in the UK. And football to us is like the NBA, MLB, and NFL, NHL, and MLS all mixed in together in the US. That's how big it is. So it's a huge announcement, and it'll have a huge impact on the country. As I know, it sounds very trivial to say, oh, it'll lift the nation, but it really will lift a huge portion of the nation being able to watch football on television again. And boy, will they be able to, because all 92 games for the first time ever, every single game is going to be available to them. What
about crowd noise? I've mentioned a couple times on this show that I've actually listened to a little bit of the Bundesliga on radio, and the crowd noise helped the product. I wasn't offended where I go, it's fake noise. But what do you think is going to happen? What is NBC going to do with the Premier League?
Well, first of all, amazing pronunciation of Bundesliga. I mean, for somebody who is just a growing soccer fan, I just love that pronunciation. So
and it's Leicester City. It's not Leicester City. It's Leicester City.
Your team, isn't it? Isn't that? Oh, no, that was Man City. Anyway, I digress. We are in conversation, but I think you're right. I actually have watched some of the games from the Bundesliga, and with that pumped in sound effects, I've enjoyed it much more because, Dan, it's kind of the familiar noise in your ear. So whether you're making your breakfast or you're playing with the kids, but you've got it on in the background, just having that noise, you don't have to watch every second of the game, but just knowing it's there is the familiarity that we're all craving. We're all craving familiarity. We're all craving our old life. So that, for me, sort of fills that hole. I know it's artificial, but it didn't bother me like it didn't bother you. So I think that could be certainly on the table. Watching football with nothing at all is jarring. We would get used to it, and that's okay. And people will get used to that as well, because it's quite interesting hearing the players talk. But hopefully, we haven't finalised our plans yet, Dan, because of course we're in partnership with Sky Sports. So we are sort of having constant meetings about it, and I'm not yet privy to those. But I would have thought, I hope there'll be maybe some sort of option.
What has happened to Manchester United the last 5 years?
You just love pinging out those big questions. They didn't plan. So they didn't, it's the last 7 years, they didn't plan. So when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, they didn't plan properly for a successor who could do what he did. And maybe the squad he left wasn't quite as strong as he made it look through his own immense, unprecedented talents. Therefore, anyone coming in is going to struggle, as Louis van Gaal did, as David Moyes did before him, as Jose Mourinho did. As a business, it's spent a lot of money that hasn't worked out. So there's a lot of disconnect between the fans, the board, the football side of things. But it is a humongous cruise ship, and it is just beginning to turn around. It is just, I feel, before lockdown, whether you're a fan of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager, or not, I'm personally not sure he's the future. But for right now, to start the cruise ship's turn, he's okay at the wheel for now.
She's Rebecca Lowe, NBC Sports Premier League host, and, of course, hosting the popular digital series Breakfast with Bex.
Stop it. Stop on the Breakfast with Bex, okay?
The biggest celebrity in the Premiership is who?
Wow. Probably Pep Guardiola.
Oh, so it's a coach or a manager at Manchester City.
I mean, I would say in terms of kind of status, yes, I would probably say Pep Guardiola is the absolute Hollywood glamour superstar. I mean, there's tons of superstars, but if you're talking the elite in terms, I would say Pep Guardiola. But you know, you've got Kevin De Bruyne, you've got Sergio Aguero. They're all massive names, Dan. I mean, virtually, I would say 70% of the Premier League are massive names. But Pep Guardiola has done it and done it over and over again. And he's done it in a way that no one's ever done it before in the style of football that he produces for his team. So right now, for me, I mean, it's faded a little bit with the emergence of Jurgen Klopp, who I spoke to this morning, actually, who's magic. So at the moment, there's the two managers, I would say, Klopp and Guardiola, yeah.
You know my favorite player?
Who?
Harry Kane.
People still talk to me about that interview when I was sitting there and you were laughing about you.
I love Didier Drogba, but I'm more of now it's Harry Kane, because they never say Kane. His name is always Harry Kane. Whenever he scores, Harry Kane.
We had this conversation though, because it has more punch, doesn't it? You can say Aguero, and just by itself is beautiful, but Kane, it just kind of like you've got to go Harry Kane, and he's just, and because we've talked about this before, he's a prince. But
also,
Harry.
It's like Tom Brady. It's right. Harry Kane, Tom Brady,
and they're really good friends. Did you know that?
They are. They're
really good friends because Harry's a huge New England Patriots fan, and I think that's who Tom Brady plays for.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore. I knew that. But they're super BFFs. So yeah, and Harry's a legend, and he's England captain. Everyone loves him. So
okay, I watched the documentary series on Sunderland Till I Die.
Oh, how good is that, Dan?
I thought it was brilliantly done, spectacular. Just the passion in that city and what that football team means to that city. You know, we talk about life and death. You know, we throw that around here in the United States. It felt like it's life and death for those fans and the importance. And then they kept getting relegated, and you could just see that it changed their lives. It was changing the city right before your very eyes.
And Dan, out of interest, is that at all comparative to anything in the US? I mean, were you surprised with how much that club runs through that city?
I don't think so, unless I looked at maybe the Philadelphia Eagles with their fan base and what that team means to them. And I'm sure Dallas, but Dallas, it's a little bit different. I mean, Sunderland is this shipping city, and it's not a wealthy city at all. They're really reliant on the economy there and their football team. But I came away going, and I hate saying it, but I did say it. You don't have to be a soccer fan to love it because it's really just about personalities, relationships, and the hopes and dreams that you have as a sports fan.
I think hope is the word. I mean, we all at the beginning of every season, as a football fan or as a sports fan, you just live in hope, don't you? It's all about maybe this year will be my year. Maybe this year will be okay. Maybe we won't be rubbish this year. And Sunderland, as you say, kept falling down the divisions and they were taken over by different people and who had their best interests in. And all the way through it, the common denominator is the fans. The same people, the taxi driver guy, the guy at home, the same people going to the games, no matter who's in charge and no matter who's playing. And like you say, it affects their lives. And that documentary gives you an insight as to why it's so important that we get football back in the UK, because those people, and there are millions of them like those Sunderland fans, they're lost, Dan. They're lost by what's happening anyway, and they're lost by having the huge part of their life taken away from them. So of course, it's a terrible time, and we would never forget that, and we must never forget that, and that will remain the constant theme now for a long time. But there's nothing wrong with being happy and joyful that something that means a huge amount to you is coming back into your life. I think that's okay. It's a tough balance, and we're going to have to strike it when I go back on air in a couple of weeks, of striking that balance between poignancy and sadness and what's going on in the world, and joy and excitement for something separate from that.
And once again, people make this mistake. West Ham, their nickname is not the Wankers. It's right. So,
oh my God, Dan.
Paulie always brings this up. He said, "You got to ask Rebecca."
That was their old nickname, Dan.
The Wankers, and I said,
guys, stop. You've got to right. I'm not going to come on your show if you continue to use that word. I've told you about that word. It's not even on television in England until after 10:30 at night, and even then, you won't even find it. It's horrendously rude, and it's just stop already.
Paulie, will you stop with that?
My bad.
Paulie,
stop saying wanker. All right.
Stop.
No. I had to remind him what he was saying, and he shouldn't be saying it. And I'm sick of that, Paulie.
My bad.
Everything's a joke when it comes to the Premier League.
It's a Liverpool. I'm all messed up.
Paulie's Liverpool squad is going to win. Is there any chance that Liverpool doesn't win?
No.
Okay.
If it did, it would be literally the most incredible story of all time. Never made a documentary out of that.
It's great to see you, and I hope Teddy's behaving, and we look forward to the Premier League returning to NBC Sports on Wednesday, June 17th. And, of course, the popular digital series Sweeping the Nation, Sweeping the World, Breakfast with Bex. It's David Beckham and Rebecca Lowe drinking Beck's beer. It's a whole lot of fun.
There you go. And you say the Premier League the same way as you've been saying it for the last 7 years. And that, Dan, the way you say that gives me great joy.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Goodbye.
That's Rebecca Lowe, NBC Sports Premier League.